What if one small moment of wonder could change the destiny of humankind? In 1879, in the quiet German town of Ulm, a little boy sat beside his father. The man placed a simple compass in his son's hand. As the needle trembled and always found its way north, the boy's eyes widened. An unseen force was at play, something invisible, yet undeniable. That mystery gripped him. He didn't yet know its name, but that invisible power would guide his life as surely as it guided the compass needle. While other children memorized facts, Albert questioned everything. Why does light move? What makes the stars shine? What lies beneath what we can see? His teachers called him slow, but inside that silence, curiosity burned like a hidden flame, a light that would one day outshine the world. If you enjoy stories that inspire, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more. As Albert grew, his questions multiplied faster than answers could keep up. Classrooms were rigid cages, full of rules that left no room for imagination. Teachers mistook silence for defiance, daydreaming for laziness. But his mind was elsewhere, traveling beyond walls, chasing invisible forces that seemed to dance just out of reach. At 16, frustrated by discipline and punishment, he abandoned school in Munich and moved to Switzerland, where thought flowed more freely. Yet even there, freedom had its price. He failed his first entrance exam to the Zurich Polytechnic, passing only in math and physics. Still, he persisted. When he finally entered, he found professors who valued obedience more than originality. They wanted repetition. He wanted revelation. He found comfort in music. Late at night, his violin sang softly while his mind wandered. He imagined chasing a beam of light, moving beside it, watching colors shift and time distort. Could reality itself bend with motion? The thought consumed him. When graduation came, no one wanted to hire him. No university, no laboratory, no future. He was a dreamer with no place in the system he would one day redefine. To support his wife and newborn son, he accepted work at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. Each morning, he walked past gray buildings and narrow streets, reviewing other men's inventions. But in the quiet between stamps and signatures, he invented entire worlds inside his head. That office became his universe. There were no telescopes or test tubes, only thought. He wrote equations on scraps of paper, filling the silence with the hum of ideas. And in that silence, he began to sense the shape of something vast and beautiful, a new understanding of the universe waiting to be born. The year was 1905. The world knew nothing of the young clerk in Bern. Yet, behind that unassuming door of the patent office, Albert Einstein was quietly reshaping reality. That year would later be called his Annus Mirabilis, his miracle year. In a single burst of genius, he published 4 scientific papers that forever changed our understanding of the universe. The first paper proved that atoms were real, tiny particles, once theoretical, now undeniable. The second revealed that light was not continuous, but came in discrete packets, quanta, laying the foundation of quantum theory. The third showed that motion and time were not absolute. They depended on the observer. Space and time, once seen as separate, were one, woven into a single, elastic fabric. And the fourth, his most famous, united energy and mass with one breathtaking equation, E, mc2. No assistants, no laboratories, no fame, only thought. He spent his evenings writing by the glow of a lamp while the city slept. In the stillness, he imagined clocks on moving trains, beams of light curving through darkness, time itself bending and stretching like a living thing. When his papers reached the academic journals, most scientists couldn't grasp them. But a few recognized what had happened. A revolution had begun from the desk of a clerk. The boundaries of physics were broken open by a man who dared to ask why the universe worked at all. Einstein had turned solitude into power. He proved that imagination is not a child's escape. It is the seed of discovery. By 1919, the world finally caught up. A solar eclipse confirmed his prediction that gravity could bend light itself. Photographs from distant observatories proved it. Einstein's theory of relativity was real. Newspapers declared, "Newton overthrown." Overnight, the quiet patent clerk became the most famous scientist on Earth. But fame, to Einstein, was a burden. He smiled for cameras, but longed for silence. Crowds followed him. Journalists invaded his privacy, and admirers sent endless letters. He wore the same old coat, his hair untamed, his shoes worn. Fame could not change him. If anything, it revealed how little he cared for it. He joked about his messy appearance. "If my theory of relativity is proven successful," he said, "Germany will claim me as a German, and France will declare that I am a citizen of the world. If it fails, they will say I am a Swiss Jew." But behind his humor lay wisdom. Fame, he realized, was a test of humility. He refused wealth, honors, and luxury. He used his influence to speak for peace, against nationalism and prejudice. His words carried as much weight as his theories. He once told students, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence." To the world, he was a genius. To himself, he was a lifelong student of wonder. The 1930s brought shadows across Europe. As the Nazi regime rose, Einstein's Jewish heritage and outspoken pacifism made him a target. His books were burned in public squares. His name appeared on death lists. In 1933, he fled Germany for America. The ship that carried him across the Atlantic bore more than luggage. It carried the heartbreak of exile. He would never set foot in his homeland again. In Princeton, New Jersey, he found refuge in simplicity. A modest house, a cluttered desk, and a violin that sang every evening. There, he found not peace, but purpose. His focus turned from equations to ethics. He wrote essays about compassion, conscience, and the responsibility of science. "Science can tell us what is," he wrote, "but not what should be." He met refugees, spoke for freedom, and denounced tyranny wherever he saw it. In his letters, he encouraged young scientists to remain curious but also kind. "Our task," he said, "must be to free ourselves from the prison of self by widening our circle of compassion." He was no longer just a scientist. He was a philosopher of humanity. The boy who once stared at a compass needle had become a moral compass for the world. And still, each night, he played Mozart on his violin, the melodies floating softly through the Princeton air like the heartbeat of hope. In 1939, fear returned to Einstein's life. Two physicists warned him that Germany might be close to developing an atomic bomb. Though a pacifist, he felt a moral duty to act. Together, they wrote a letter to President Roosevelt urging the United States to explore nuclear research. That letter changed history. The Manhattan Project was born, not by his hands, but by his warning. When Hiroshima and Nagasaki fell, Einstein was crushed by guilt. His equation, once a symbol of beauty, had been twisted into a weapon. "If only I had known," he said, "I would have become a watchmaker." For the rest of his life, he fought for peace. He opposed nuclear weapons, supported civil rights, and called racism a disease of white people. He stood beside thinkers and activists, believing that moral courage mattered more than brilliance. He spent long walks contemplating where science and humanity had diverged. "The splitting of the atom," he said, "has changed everything except our way of thinking." Einstein's final crusade was not against ignorance, but indifference. He believed that knowledge without empathy was destruction disguised as progress. His greatest discovery was not written in an equation. It was found in the human heart. In his final years, Einstein lived as he always had, modestly, curiously, freely. He walked to his office each morning, papers tucked under his arm, socks forgotten, hair wild. When doctors discovered a fatal aneurysm, they offered surgery. He refused. "I want to go when I want," he said. "It is tasteless to prolong life artificially." On April 18, 1955, at 76, he passed away peacefully in his sleep. On his desk lay unfinished notes, a lifetime of questions still whispering their secrets. His ashes were scattered, but his ideas remain woven into the fabric of reality. Every GPS satellite, every photograph of distant galaxies owes something to the man who asked the right questions. Einstein's true gift was not his intellect. It was his humility. He showed that imagination is the doorway to reality. If this story moved you, leave a comment and tell us where you're watching from. And don't forget, every like, comment, and subscription helps share more stories that inspire.